I mean, like, what is?
Oh yeah,
what,
I mean, I feel like tradition has died over the years,
So
for better and for worse.
and the normalization of sex work is one of the things that is sort of deleterious to our culture and to, again, young men that become addicted to dating and doing and watching the stuff online. I mean, they're naturally going to become more simpy and more beta because their highest goal is sexual gratification. And so they're going to be more submissive to a woman if that opportunity means that they can have sexual gratification.
1000%. Yeah, no, I mean, I just see the shift and I know the shift. So going back to what you said before, like as far as dating goes, like I wasn't getting satisfied by men, emotionally or physically anymore outside of the industry. And I was like, I'm tired of, hoping that I get that spark when I go meet up with a guy rather than just like getting booked with a really hot guy and like possibly having that chemistry and possibly like we're both in the industry, we both get each other and we both, like can grow something together or not. Like, sorry.
You had something? You were raising your hand?
Because I think a lot of the
Wait, can you just like straighten your mic a little bit so it's just like kind of facing? Yeah.
I feel like a lot of the fault is trying to be placed on the women who are in the industry. And obviously they are accountable for their own actions, but why aren't the men accountable for theirs? Why are you paying for that content? Why are you supporting those sites? Why aren't you going after the companies? Because we're employees. That'd be like you getting mad at Amazon employees for what Amazon's doing.
Well, hold on. With your OF, you guys are independent contractors.
Yeah.
Right, but
You're not employees of
No, but still, we don't own.
But
And they take a 30% cut. So it's not like,
You said 30?
yeah, so it's not like
Damn.
we didn't create our own website. I mean, yeah,
fucked
there's
up.
some women who do that, and that's fine. Again, take accountability for your own actions. But the Hub and all those other sites,
Yeah, I agree.
who are they
Well,
owned by?
I mean, I
not
agree
women.
with you that men shouldn't be consuming this content.
Absolutely.
They shouldn't be following a bunch of thoughts on Instagram. They shouldn't be liking their photos. They shouldn't follow any woman on Instagram, no offense.
Exactly.
I agree.
Yeah, these
Exactly.
guys, because they're simping. They should not be following random chicks, thirsting over them.
Please do. Please continue.
Well, you guys want men to keep doing that, but to
I
your
don't
point-
care.
And that-
I
but
know
that-
it won't stop. So.
It's like a chicken and the egg because, I mean, I agree with you. It's like men have to stop consuming this content and men have to actually like have orientation and direction in their lives so that a woman that they meet when it's the right one will be submissive to where they're going and what they're building in their lives so that they can help them. Mm-hmm. At the same time, the chicken and the egg is, we just talked about the erosion of tradition, the erosion of religion, and how sex work in general is part of that hamster wheel. And so it's like, yeah, I totally agree with you. Men are at fault. They should need to stop stemping. They shouldn't be paying for all this stuff online and giving women this ability in these platforms. And at the same time, choosing to do it because of the opportunity, it's just like this cyclical feedback loop that feeds on each other.
Right, but we wouldn't have jobs unless the demand was there. So if that's cut, we won't have jobs and we won't exist anymore. It has to start at the source. We're not the source.
I mean,
It's the men.
it sounds like you don't
blame-
have agency.
I wouldn't place the blame fully on one or the other.
Yeah,
It's
both.
not on one or the other, but
Right.
I'm saying
Men shouldn't be.
the consumers of it are men. The owners of these companies are men.
Yeah, why are these
The ones who are
girls-
paying for our salaries are men. So
Yeah.
where's their accountability? Where's their
We're not-
values that you're talking about?
Wait,
like
we both recognize
these
that men
Christian
consume this content. We're
Right.
saying that they shouldn't, but there is a shared culpability and blame that exists both on the men consuming it, but also on the people producing it.
But all the action and blame towards women, I don't see any of those same actions or effort towards stopping men.
There's a massive effort to stop men
Yeah.
from consuming adult content. I mean, the entire whether you're Judaism or Islam or Christianity, my understanding with all these religions, there's a big push against consuming this sort of content. But outside of even religion, you have there's apps that are trying to get people to quit, and there's like even secular components of people saying, hey, this content's not good for you. Even if you're not looking at it from a religious perspective, there's definitely, there's people out there who are advocating this is just blanketly, whether you're religious or not, it's unhealthy for your relationships as a man to be consuming this content. Yep. It's going to impact your libido. It's going to impact your sex life. It's just going to impact your general relationship with your girlfriend or wife. And so I think there's a whole bunch of angles that are coming in and saying, I think women themselves on the individual relationship level, I think most women's stated preferences is strongly against having a partner that watches or consumes this sort of adult content. So I think there's a whole bunch of angles that are actually tackling the male component of this.
Right.
But I think it should be both.
And if the efforts aren't working to stop the men, then again, it goes back to stopping the companies, because either way, we're just employees or people working to make the content that's in demand by these companies. So.
Well, I make online content. Vast majority of my audience are young men, typically under the age of 40, mostly in late teens, mid 20s. And so I'm constantly criticizing and putting more and more onus on them to stop. So my community, my audience, and the Orthodox Church in general is seeing a massive increase of young men converting to the church. This is all tied with the priests trying to rid them of these problems so that they can actually be truly masculine men that are marriageable. And so there are major cultural phenomenons right now that are happening where people are becoming more conscious of this, and young men are trying to break free of it because they're realizing that the lust, the sexual imagery, all the sexualization of our culture that's constantly around us is that they can't turn it off. And once you get trapped into that feedback loop, again, of like constantly lusting and watching and masturbating, they become very weak. And so I agree with you, but there are many people, myself included. I mean, this is what this podcast does, is try to wake men up and criticize the simpy men that are contributing to it, to shame them in a way. We need to bring back shame. We need cultural shame again.
Do you think?
We need to shame these men. Men should never simp ever. We need to overcorrect, in fact. You know what? We got to overcorrect. These men, honestly, I think for at least a period of 50 years, maybe a century, I think, don't even pay for dates. Don't even pay for dates.
You've never simped over a girl ever?
Oh, I've probably simped.
Okay, so why are we?
Long time
what's
ago.
why?
Long time ago.
Why do we need to end simping? I think it's like a good thing. Like, I feel like it's like
I'm exaggerating
No, like,
a little
I feel
bit,
like there's levels of everything, right? Like, being a simp, there could be an extreme level of being a simp, right? But I feel like even the corn thing, like you were saying, let me think about my thoughts before I go off. But why do you think it's a bad thing to be a simp? Like, why do you think that?
Well, I think the whole simp thing is you basically have these guys doing way too much, being way too extra for women who are like vaguely interested or not even interested at all. I think it's fine to be a provider for a woman when there's like some degree of established relationship, but you'll have guys who are simping over women who like those men are invisible to that woman. And the other thing is like if a woman